Pregame, pull up to the pregame, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, hey, pull up to the pregame, pull up to the pregame, pull up, pull up, pull up, hey, catch a vibe.
Yo, welcome back to another pregame podcast. We lit, we live, and while y'all edit, you already know what I'm gonna say. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We back Friday night at 8. I told myself I wouldn't be late. Pregame podcast is great. Great. Hey, I'm excited to be here, as y'all can see. I need to know, y'all pulling up with some energy. It's Friday. We made it through the weekend. I need to know what y'all pulling up with. If y'all are new here to the chat, if y'all new here to the pregame podcast, welcome. Make sure you hit that like, comment, subscribe button. Hit that bell notification so you never miss whenever we go live. And one thing that we do here before we start every podcast, we always ask people what they pulling up with. And if you ever been to a pregame before, you know, you can never come empty-handed. You got to pull up with something. Here at the pregame podcast, we don't want you to pull up with anything tangible. We just want you to pull up with some vibes, with some energy. Pull up with whatever happened during that week, and we want to hear about it. So, what y'all pulling up with? Appreciate you. I see the chat already. The hat. Appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Dad gang, got to rep Dad gang out here today. But yeah, so what I'm pulling up with good energy. You know what I'm saying? We had a little family emergency yesterday. Had a little allergy scare with the youngest one, so we just had to make sure that's good. But he is doing good. I'm blessed that he is in good health. You know, the whole family's in good health. So that's what I'm pulling with. I'm pulling with good, just positive vibes, energy, and all that. So a lot of y'all did reach out just to check in and see how everything was going. You know, y'all didn't ask much. Y'all just say, hey, just make sure all is well. I appreciate everybody who did reach out. I thank y'all for just being great people. You know what I'm saying? That's what the pregame podcast is all about, is just positive vibes, good energy. And one thing we always going to do is tell the truth, you know? So we got a fun-filled episode. As always, I want y'all to engage. So last week we talked about doing the top 5 wrestlers. So that's what we were going to do. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it because Shot couldn't be here. He had some family things going on, so he had to take care of. And I wanted to make sure that he was here because he was hyped for it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my pops for putting it in the chat last week and giving us the idea. So he was excited for it. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna chill. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna wait for him to get back. So I'm gonna save it. So no starting lineup this week. So make sure if y'all were not here last week and y'all like, Carlo, what is the starting lineup? What do we do? What does that mean? Right? Basically, here at the pregame podcast, one of our staples, you know what I'm saying? One of our top fan favorite segments that we do is the starting lineup. And it's a top 5 of whatever genre of music, topic, whatever, you know, the chat want to see. And so the chat asked last week if we could do a top 5 wrestlers of all time. Now, granted, this is going to be extremely difficult to do, y'all. Like, I have my top 5 already because I was prepared for this week until the emergency happened. But I might have to, since we got an extra week, I might just run back and just see. I might run back and just like review, you know what I'm saying? Double check my answers for a minute. Cause I gotta see if it's right. You know what I'm saying? I went based off my mood, how I was feeling, and my conviction. I gotta double check. You know what I'm saying? Just like the Panthers in the draft board, sometimes you gotta double check and make sure, you gotta look. I gotta double check, man. So we're gonna do that next week. But we have a few different things that we're gonna do tonight. One, as you saw on the YouTube thumbnail, Unfiltered. We're going to talk about the LeBron James and Pat McAfee interview, my thoughts and opinions, even though look, some people may not care. I don't know. But my thoughts and opinions on it. And then we're going to do some pregame react. So I got some things I want to react to. I want to hear y'all thoughts on. We'll talk a little bit of pop culture, some things happening in the pop culture realm. And we got a lot of NFL news to get over. So a lot of things happened recently in the NFL during the offseason. So we'll talk about that. And of course, I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of Panther stuff in there too. So you know how I get down. So everybody who's pulled up the pregame gang.
Hey, say gang.
We appreciate y'all. All right, so let's see where we're gonna start. Where do we want to start tonight? Low. Which one I want to? All right, so I'll start off with this video first. So y'all might have saw it. It went viral. Steph Curry did something crazy, almost did something crazy, but we'll get into it. Hey, look. So if y'all did not see this, he actually did not make the shot, right? But it was so close. Like he almost made it. This is probably one of the greatest misses that I've seen in a very long time. It was right on the money. It was crazy, and you could tell, like, look, this went viral for 2 different reasons. One, because it was almost like it was incredible, he almost made that shot. But 2, a lot of people got upset because they were like, "Oh, y'all gonna put this online even though he did miss the shot, and even though, like, y'all just trying to hype up Curry, this, that, and the third, right?" And so I thought about it, and I was like, "Wait a minute. Um, review the film because this look,
Run that back, Turbo.
he talked about it. He talked about him missing it in the film, right? So we get here, right? He misses the shot, and then look down. He's talking, like he's looking at the guy. He's like, "Oh man," and then he does this right here, close. Like he's talking to him, and he said, "Look, I'm that close." He literally goes, "I'm that close." You know what I'm saying? So everybody just chill. You know what I'm saying? He tries something. He would never do anything like this in the game, of course, but like let my man breathe a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And it was greatest miss I've seen. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Curry, shout out to the Warriors, everything they doing. But I wanted to show that because everybody just went crazy over it, and I was like, "Yo, y'all are really tripping." So shout out to what you're doing over there, big dog. All right, so the next thing I want to review, basketball related, was this crazy, crazy, crazy dime that Joker did. So we're gonna talk about that real quick. Here we go.
Had a great first half. Give it back to Jokic. Jokic on the pump fake. And over the shoulder, no looker.
Oh, they're going to give him 2 shots.
Nasty.
Joker tried to foul him out on the wing. There's that pass. Just a flip over the shoulder.
One of the best we've seen all year from Jokic.
Look at Lopez. He didn't even know where the ball's going.
Bro, can we talk about this real quick, bro? Because this, I ain't gonna hold you. This is nasty, bro. Now, I think a lot of people like Joker is probably, to me personally, one of the most polarizing NBA stars because of the fact that you either love him and you give him his respect, or you hate him and you still got to give him his respect. It's because the way that he plays is so unorthodox, or not, a KD or a LeBron or somebody who's really like uber athletic. But this man is a walking triple double. He plays the game so well. And this is probably one of, if not this year, this season, one of the best dimes I've seen in a while, right? And people know it was not luck. He anticipated and he saw this thing happening. But I thought it was probably one of the most impressive dimes I've seen, especially from a big man. But even I'm just talking about player in general this year, honestly. So we got to run that back. You already know.
Run that back, Turbo.
We got to review the film. You feel me? So let's review the film right here. I want to pull up this one right here. So he sees it. He's like, okay, bet. He sees his guy on the left, and he just spins and look at that, nasty. Hey, Joker's like that, y'all. Like, for people who do hate on him, bro, you gotta, either you don't know ball, you don't watch it like that, or you just really just hating. You are really just hating. So shout out to Joker. Shout out to that dunk. I'm curious to see how they're going to do in the playoffs, because the West, man, it's pretty tight. I'm not even gonna hold you. It's pretty tight. And me as a Lakers fan, it's like, hey, we cannot afford to get injured, and we cannot afford to lose games that we're supposed to win. So, shout out to Joker. We'll see what happens in the playoffs, but that was pretty fire. All Are we having? Make sure we're not having issues with anything. Okay, I think everything's good. Cool. All right, so the next one I want to do. We haven't done one thing we haven't done in a while, and y'all know me. You know what I'm saying? You know I love music. You know I love to experience different genres and all that stuff. And we've talked about music. We talked about music since episode 1 of this podcast. So I want to review some more music tonight. I haven't done it in a while, so I was like, bet. This person is local. I think I've met him once, but he's he's all over Panthers Twitter and does everything. So, and if you're on Twitter, you know this person. But Monty, he goes by Westside Fetty. He dropped a new freestyle. So I haven't listened to it yet. All I know is I saw the title of it and I was like, "Ooh, if he is sampling this particular song, I rock with it because it's an old school Uchiwali. Y'all know Nas Uchiwali song, but he's freestyling off of that, right? So a little snippet. We're gonna check it out, and here at the pregame, we always tell the truth. We always keep it a buck. We always keep it 100. All right. So I want to hear what y'all think about this, and I'll give my thoughts as well. So here we go.
Look, she love my country grammar. 4 lines in the fountain. From the west side of the fold back to Atlanta. Really gon' set the standard. These niggas really be lying on these cameras. I was broke, that's why I went and brought my hammer, nigga. To these bitches, I give them all that they can handle. To the streets, they show me love. And nigga run the city in Gucci sandals. I got more lies for the sinners. I got more pies for the winner. I got bitches who wanna see me fall out of the sprinter. Fuck them niggas who wanna see me fall out for a minute. I know nigga really hate to see me ball out. And I'm winning, yeah. Some niggas I been going all out. From beginnings on mama, I got it. I just pour my heart out. Free with me, bitch, we in the street. Put it on my piece, I told my niece, like, baby, if I die. But they know the world gon' hear me preach. I'm like, baby, I'm fine. But I flood my net wrist in my teeth. I got nigga plotting to take me out the street.
Hey. Okay.
Bang, 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 bang.
Okay. Hey yo, first off, I see y'all in the chat already. Y'all definitely throwing fire emojis. Deontay, he's definitely going in, bro. Like one thing I appreciate people who have different flows, but then can like switch up the flow within a song. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you hear a lot of songs where people keep the same flow. He switched the same flow. The flow was original. The bars was going crazy. I'm not even gonna hold you. Like he's talking that talk. You know what I'm saying? It was dope. I appreciate him sampling an old school beat. You know what I'm saying? One, it shows me student of the game, loves music because he went back to the Uchiwali. Like he's not using any of the beats that we're hearing now. You know what I'm saying? He went back old school. I like the vibe. You know, one thing about me, we talk about it already. I said it with another artist, visuals. You know what I'm saying? The visuals with, everybody did the outside. Everybody had the mic with you outside. He was in the studio. You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty fire too. He's in the studio showing that. He's got a lot of stage presence, which I thought that was pretty dope too. So yeah, this was fire. But one thing I gotta call out though. We gotta review the film.
Run that back, Turbo.
Review the film real quick. My man said, look, I know we got the professional camera out here. My dog got excited. He said, look, no, I can't even get you. I need the flash on. I need the flash on real quick, bro. I got to get this other angle. Even though we got this professional camera right here, I got to get this other angle. But look, bro, Fetty, I don't know if you ever see this, dog, but you was snapping, dog. I want to hear more. I got to go back. You know what I'm saying? I know this ain't your first. I got to go back and hear some of the other stuff. But I happened to see this, and I was like, let me check it out. This was gas. This was gas, man. So you definitely get pregame stamp of approval, big dog, because that was gas. I'm not even gonna hold you. That was cool. All right, so let's get into some of the content for today. So we got a lot to talk about. Let's get into some NFL news first. So let's drop some NFL news. So let's get into it. All right, so NFL news. Let's start off with CD. So I see nothing happened to CeeDee Lamb in particular, you know what I'm saying, personally. But NFL is becoming they call it the no fun league because they love to either ban or change things every single year. And they decided to ban CD made it popular, but a lot of people do it. But the wipe the nose, you know what I'm saying? That wipe the nose celebration that people do because yes, I can't cap, you know what I'm saying? wipe your nose definitely has a very derogatory meaning where it comes from. If you don't know what it is, look it up. You know what I'm saying? But I think his was so different, right? Because he did it after every first down, wipe the nose, point. You know what I'm saying? I'm big on one thing I enjoy about celebrations is when players organically create their own signature celebration. You know what I'm saying? For example, JC Horn, you know what I'm saying? Straps, like him and Israel, I think it's Mubaku, I think his name from I probably said his last name wrong. I apologize. But they did that at South Carolina, and they started that. And so now everybody does it. You know what I'm saying? I see so many people, whether you're in the NFL, college, whatever, any DB, any safety, you know what I'm saying? You got a pass deflection or whatever, you strapping up. Offensive players even doing it now. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's a bad ball by the quarterback, you know what I'm saying? They knock the ball away from the DB, strap up. You know what I'm saying? So many people are doing that now. And I appreciate when a player creates like their signature move. This was CeeDee Lamb's signature move. He's been doing it since he was in the league. He might have low key. I haven't, gone back and did a history lesson, but he might have been doing that in college at Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying? But either way, you know what I'm saying? He hit not the strap, excuse me. He does the wipe your nose point, but now they're banning. If you do it, it's a penalty. It's a 15-yard penalty. And I thought that was very, very like one, stupid, two, like, I don't know. I feel like I think there's plenty of other things the NFL could be focused on than a little celebration like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's that big of a deal. And it's not like these players are out here publicly like doing the stuff that wipe the nose means. You know what I'm saying? So it just sucks. I know CD probably pissed off about it. I'm curious to see what he's going to do to change it. I'm curious if he's going to still do it. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes, the emotions get in the game. It's a heck of a first down on a 3rd and 15, a 3rd and 20, and they get up hype. I wonder if he's going to catch it and get a 15-yard penalty. Or I wonder, because Dallas is America's team, are they going to just like not look at it and not think it's the same wipe your nose? I'm curious. I'm very, very curious. So we'll see what happens to CD. We'll see what happens with this wipe your nose. I wonder if I respect it. It should be banned. I see somebody said it should be banned. I mean, I hear you. You know what I'm saying? Because of like what it means and all of that. But I'm thinking about in terms of CD. Like CD is literally like, his is a little different. But it's plenty of other celebrations that probably people outside of the culture may not know what it means. They might not know what it means, but we know what it means. They haven't been banned yet. So that's all I'm saying there. Like, if you're going to try to do some research and figure out what it means, then you should do some research on everything, But who am I? Who am I? I'm just a podcaster, right? Just a content creator. All right, so we're going to get into some other big news. Stephon Diggs is now a Patriot. This was not on my bingo card. Well, what I say was not on my bingo. Yeah, it was not on my bingo card that he would get picked up so soon. And also, it was not on my bingo card that he would get the contract that he did get. 3 years, $69 million. 3-year deal. He's coming off an ACL injury, 31 years old. Don't get me wrong. Stephon's a dog. You know what I mean? Like, Stephon is a very passionate, is what the word I'll use. Passionate player. But it's curious. This made me curious. One thing I appreciate is the fact that the Patriots, yes, they had a lot of cap space, you know what I'm saying? But the Patriots have been very bullish on getting good players around their potential franchise quarterback. Only reason I'm saying potential, it was 1 year. Yes, he was great. He did a great job, Pro Bowler, all of those different things. But we've seen a lot of people have great years and come down. So until he gets to his second, third year, I'll say potential. You know what I'm saying? Same thing we did with Bryce, same thing we did with everybody else. Anyway, they're not playing. I think a lot of teams, I think you've seen that in Chicago as well, had really paid attention to what the Panthers did wrong during Bryce's rookie season. You know what I'm saying? We already heard David Tepper say, I want receivers with routes. He doesn't need an elite receiver. Every other team was like, all right, let's see how that goes. We saw how it went, and they said, we are not doing that. And the Patriots are really making sure of that. They hit and they miss with T. Higgins. They hit and they miss with DK Metcalf. So they knew that they had to play the game. and they went to go find one of the best receivers in the game. You know what I'm saying? Top 10, top 15 player in Stephon Diggs. The winner out of this whole thing, I say the winner out of the whole offseason in general are these daggone agents. I don't think the agents truly get the respect that they deserve and the credit that they should receive, because the work that they've been doing, they have been playing chess while a lot of people have been playing checkers. Because the Milton Williams situation, I'm going off on a tangent a little bit. The Milton Williams situation was all on the agent, how the agent did it. Let's use today for an example. The Hunter Renfrow news that we're getting about him coming to the Panthers. That's not that's the agent. The agent is telling them all, like the agent knew, hey, yes, Hunter Renfrow is a great player, right? We saw, if you watch the pivot, who was it? Derwin James gave Hunter Renfrow his credit. He said he's a dog. So we're not saying that he is not great. He came, was not playing last year. So he's out a whole year, coming back at 29. Yes, he probably still has a lot of tread left on those tires. He definitely does. However, nobody was giving him the time of day or even just thinking about him coming back or wanting him to be on the team. But the agent has been working overtime to kind of make all those things happen. And then you finally get a visit from the Panthers, but that's not enough. It's not enough. What can you say? It's not enough, because you need to have everybody knows the Panthers need another receiver. The whole league knows it. All the media knows it. So you got to get that set up. Hey, I can reach out to them. They'll at least entertain it. He's from Clemson. We can entertain it. Then you come over and you go to the Raiders. You just left there. New regime, new coaching staff. Hey, we know you were drafted here. We'll give you a chance. You got two now. So the agent's like, bet. Let me reach out to Adam Shefty. Reach out to Shefty real quick. Throw this out, and then we add at the end, could possibly add more. I mean, you could possibly add more if you got more, but you're going to throw that in there to make teams think like, oh, let me entertain it. W agent. W agent for sure. The agent's, you spaz, bro. Solid. So W agent on that. Because I don't know if anybody was looking until you do something like that. So it was cool. Going back to Stephon Diggs, I'm curious to see how this is going to move the needle in terms of the Patriots offense. You know what I'm saying? They had Javon Baker over there. They had Jalen Polk over there. So they drafted two rookie wide receivers last year. Those people did not meet the mark that they were looking for. You bring in Stephon Diggs. So I'm very curious to see what that's going to look like and who they're going to draft at number 4. I want to know from the chat, like, what do y'all think? Do you think that this says that they are going a different direction than wide receiver for 4? Or do you think, hey, they're going to go for Tet and pair up Tet and Stephon Diggs? I'm curious to know what y'all think. I have my personal opinion, and I will say it, but I want to know what y'all think. Do y'all think that they will go Tet and pair them up? Or do you think they're going to go a different position? While y'all throwing that in the chat, I'll give you my opinion. I think that a lot of especially when you're in a top 10, and I think I've said this on the pod before. I think when you're going top 10, you're going to go BPA, and BPA doesn't necessarily mean the best player available on Mel Kiper's draft board. It's going to be BPA, best player available on their draft board, and that's going to matter a lot. They probably have a lot of priority things in place, right? This is how I constitute best player available, right? It could be scheme fit for them, right? It could be traits, like not even just character traits. That matters too. And Canales, we've noticed that Canales loves, you got to have a great character. We've seen that. But it also could mean like your physical traits, right? If we are running, let's use Evero for an example. If we're running a 3-4 and we've seen in the past with Evero, he likes to have those 6'4", 6'5", 250, 260 type people, 240 type people, then that's their physical traits that they look for. all that matters for each team, and each team has it ranked differently. So I think for the Patriots, I would personally probably go for like a Will Campbell, or if Travis Hunter's there, Travis Hunter. But I think Travis Hunter may go third. I think that Will Campbell makes sense because you need to protect Drake May. You know what I'm saying? You got him a wide receiver 1 and Stephon Diggs. You have to protect him so that he can get the ball to your 3-year, $69 million receiver. So that's what I'm saying. I agree, Chaz. I think he said, I think that means that they might need to go Tet now. They need OL help. Yeah. I agree. I don't think that they'll go Tet. They definitely need a Will Campbell or the other guy from, I think, Mizzou. That's what I would do. So we'll see what happens with Stephon Diggs. Speaking of that, I think the other thing too, Russell Wilson. Did y'all expect that? Russell Wilson going to the Giants, 1-year deal. I think it was like 21 mil, but like 10 and a half of it is incentives. I think his bait, it's a 10 million, it's 10.5 mil. I think 8 of it was a signing bonus. And then his base salary is like 2 mil. So crazy structure in terms of that deal. But do you think that they'll go Shedeur Sanders? I think that's the question is, do you get Shedeur Sanders even though you have a Russell Wilson and a Jameis Winston and a Tommy DeVito? That's 3. You got 3 quarterbacks on that you just signed. You signed all 3 of them this offseason. Do you go Shedeur Sanders, or do you use Russell Wilson, let him be your bridge quarterback, and then you pair up Malik Neighbors with Travis Hunter? I don't know. I think that they left the door open for a lot. You said Neighbors is upset. That is funny. I mean, okay, so Neighbors, why does everybody like diss Russ so bad? Like, I know he's not the same Russell Wilson that we saw in Seattle, but is he do y'all think he's that terrible? I don't know. I don't think he's that terrible. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Russ and what they're gonna do there. I mean, at 3, you can't go wrong. Honestly, at 3, you can't go wrong. Whoever's the best player, whether you feel as though it's Shedeur, whether you feel as though it's Travis Hunter. Personally, I would let Russ be the bridge quarterback and go get Travis. Pair them up. So we'll see what happens there. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about, quick music plug. I don't know if y'all saw this. We on the pregame, we did, it's a few episodes ago, we did a Erykah Badu. I think did we do a top 3? We did something like that. I think that was me. I think it was when all 3 of us was here. We did a Erykah Badu starting lineup, and I got excited when I saw this because I'm a huge I love music. Y'all know that. And I rock with Erykah Badu. I rock with Erykah Badu heavy. And the fact that she is prepping to create an album in 15 years is fire. Fire. But the other crazy thing is the fact that she is prepping her first album in 15 years produced only by The Alchemist. That's gas. That is gas.
Bang, bang, bang.
That's gas.
Bang, bang.
So I'm excited because I love when artists pair up with one producer for a whole album, right? Especially good artists, because that means that producer is going to make sure that each song, 1, does not sound the same, but 2, they're all cohesive in terms of an album. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you've probably listened to music before where someone has a whole bunch of different producers on there, which is not a bad thing, but all of them sound completely different in a good and bad way, right? And it feels like it's not an album, but more so like a mixtape, if you will. Because mixtape, you could throw songs together. Not all artists do this, but a lot of artists just throw something together and it's like, boom, mixtape. Here's my throwaways. But I appreciate when artists similar to like Erykah are very, very passionate about their art and they create a cohesive album where you get a little bit of everything, right? And then sometimes like artists will get so delicate with their albums and the way that the track list flows, where you have like your turn up, your hype intro, and then a little slower or like their experimental sound for like 2 or 3 songs. And you get into your slow jams and then you pick it back up. Like when you do things like that and you're really like intentional with how you do your track list, I love it. I love it. And I try to pay attention to a lot of those different things because um I think it truly matters to artists of where they place their songs. And so I love to listen to music with that idea in mind of they put this song here in the middle or at the end for a particular reason, right? So let me just try to get the feel for it if you're telling a story, all those different things. I think it's extremely dope. And one thing that I don't think gets a lot of credit too is the fact that I love when artists hide the features these days. I love it. Some people hate it. Bruh, I love it because it's like a little surprise and delight, right? You're listening to the song, you know they got features in there. You don't know where the features are, and sometimes they hint towards who's on the album, but you don't know what song that artist is on the album. So you see all these people on it, and you're like, oh, they got so and so, they got so and so, they got so and so. And then finally, you listen to the song, you don't know when The Weeknd or Kendrick or Drake gonna be on the song, but you know they're on there. I love it. I love it. I think it's dope. It makes you really listen to the music a different way because you're not trying to wait till like, okay, yeah, I'm listening to this, but I want to hear what Kendrick got to say on this, right? You listen to it and then you hear their song, whether it's in a chorus or ad lib or whatever, and it just hypes you up even more, right? Love it. Absolutely love it. My guy Doug, what's good? Doug is in the chat. Yo, if y'all do not follow or subscribe to What's Up, Doug, make sure y'all go check them out. Fire podcast. A great Panthers content creator. And we doing a collab soon. So y'all make sure y'all check that out whenever that gets going. So shout out to my boy Doug. But yeah, bro, you can tell I love music. I love everything about it. And I can't wait. I'm definitely gonna check that one out. We might have to review it and come back with a grade WL or rated 1 through 5 when that comes out, if it comes out. Because y'all know how artists are. Hey, I'm gonna do this, and then you don't hear anything about it. So don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. All right, so let's get into the main piece. The main piece of tonight. Yes, we'll talk about some Panther stuff. Yes, we'll talk about Panthers meeting with Ted. Yes, we'll talk about some other stuff. The Morgan and Dan Morgan and the Brant Tillis press conference. But I want to talk about the main ingredient, which is our YouTube thumbnail and the title of this, Unfiltered. So if y'all did not see, LeBron was on the Pat McAfee show. I don't know when they recorded this. My assumption is that they recorded that. I know it probably wasn't live. Probably recorded it this week because I think that the Pat McAfee show, his headquarters is in Indy, and they were playing Indy. So that's my assumption. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. So, all right. So he was on the Pat McAfee show, and let me keep it a buck. Y'all. Y'all know I'm a Lakers fan. I've talked about this on the podcast before because Vashti and Shad try to get on me. How you born in Michigan, but you were raised in Charlotte, and you not a Hornets fan. You like the Lakers. Look, I like what I like, and I told you why I like it because that dude Kobe Bean Bryant. That's who I grew up watching. I always went outside trying to do the Kobe fadeaway. That's just what it was, y'all. Look, it is what it is. You're not gonna change me, okay? You're not gonna change me. All right, so yeah. All that being said, I was not a huge LeBron fan. Okay. With me saying that does not necessarily mean that I'm a LeBron hater. I respect him on and off the court. I respect him on and off the court. But one thing I want to say about this is I gained so much respect for him in this particular episode, what he was talking about, right? I would say that I really appreciated his transparency. I appreciated his reflectiveness in terms of the reasons why he did what he did, why he didn't do what he didn't do. It was dope. Like I've heard before in another podcast, him talking about leaving Cleveland after those 7 years and then going over to Miami. That was like him going off to college because he never went to college. And he, the fact that he was born in Akron, Ohio, played for Cleveland, like he needed to get away, grow up, all those different things. I respect it. I heard it before, and I appreciate that. The one thing that I've never heard anybody say this, but it's a thought that probably everybody had, like in conspiracy theory, especially if you hated LeBron that time. But he was like, he felt like the draft was rigged. He thought the draft was rigged because he was like, all right, this is interesting. Patrick Ewing's from New York, gets drafted by New York Knicks. Derrick Rose from Chicago gets drafted by the Chicago. I'm from Ohio, and then I get drafted by Cleveland. And these are like the biggest stars in that particular draft, right? And I was like, yo, I always wondered that because one thing I do hate, and I think we might have talked about this on the podcast before, but one thing I do hate about the NBA draft is the lottery. The lottery pick and the fact that, you get a certain percentage, but nobody knows how they're picking who's going to do it. We don't see it live. Of course, they show you a little bit, but we don't see all the inner workings of how that works. Right. And so he was like, yo, I wonder, he made it, he said it in a joking matter, but I was like, yo, it's something to think about. Like, it's all about the money. It's all about, at the end of the day, all these professional sports, they're all about the bottom dollar. How much money are we making, and how can we make more money? What is it? That's a question. Is it rigged? Did they pull that off and say, we know, like, this is a hometown kid from Akron, Ohio. He could be the next big thing, the face of the league. It'll be a great story to say, this is a hometown kid staying in Cleveland. That's a question. Do y'all think it's rigged? Do y'all think that they play this like it's a WWE storyline? Do you think that that's what they do? It's a solid question that I don't have the answer to. But when he said that, I was like, yo, that's interesting. That's very interesting. I didn't think of it like that, All in all, I got a few things out of this particular podcast. If you haven't seen it, I won't waste your time. It's a good interview. A very good interview, unfiltered in all ways. I'm talking about like no censor, like LeBron was cussing up a storm, all that. So don't watch it around your kids if you don't want to. I'm just giving you that. If you haven't seen him, giving you that disclaimer, right? So he talked about a lot, right? He talked about that. He talked about the reason why he was so how can I say it? So intentional with how he did what he did because he didn't want to be an F up, right? I'm not cussing on there, but he was just like, he don't want to mess up. He don't want to be that guy who was supposed to make it but didn't make it, like a lot of people he saw in his hood. So I appreciate like the transparency, how he was reflecting on his time, how he was answering things that other people might have said, but we all thought they were rumors. For instance, he spends $1 million on his body every year. He was like, I don't know where people got that number from. Not true. But everybody said that for years. Bro, I ain't gonna hold you. In presentations at work, I used that analogy before of LeBron, da-da-da-da. That means you got to invest in yourself. Da-da. Like, people use that so much, and it was false. It wasn't true. It was not true. So the fact that he finally came out and said it wasn't, I was like, okay, cool. So I appreciate him, debunking myths, but then saying some things were true, like the whole book situation. Like, he made a joke about it. The thing that stuck out to me about all of this and everything he was saying, LeBron keeps all receipts. LeBron is petty. LeBron petty, and he was here to shoot. The gun was loaded, and he was ready to shoot. Shots fired. Shots fired all this whole episode. Shots were fired. He talked about Stephen A. Smith and got into that and the reason why he went up to him and why, and he got into it. He even took he got a straight Brian Windhurst, who is on the YouTube thumbnail, caught the craziest stray, because if anybody knows Windhurst is a LeBron lover. You will never hear anything come out of his mouth bad about LeBron. He loved LeBron. But LeBron came at him and was like, yo, Yeah, and the other guy, Wendy, over here talking about this guy's weird, and just calling him out because the fact that he's just like was all like is the conductor of a LeBron train. I was like, dang, Wendy done caught shots? That's crazy. And I think the main piece around this is that like I felt like LeBron was like, hey, enough is enough. Like y'all have said a lot, and I've been kind of keeping my mouth closed in some cases, but I'm just gonna tell it all. I'm just gonna tell it all. And you know what I'm saying? John Cena is now a heel in WWE. I'm gonna be a heel in the NBA because so many people are coming out and just really like pissed off at LeBron. One of the things that I saw that people were talking about, they were so pissed off about, is the fact that he went to Pat McAfee and didn't go to a uh, up and coming or lower network, or a Shannon Sharp, right? Why didn't you go on Shannon Sharp? Shannon Sharp's a huge LeBron fan. Why didn't you go to Shannon Sharp? Why didn't you use the pivot? Why didn't you use one of these other networks to bump them up? Why did you have to go to the top thing, the top person, right? Pat McAfee is everywhere. You know what I'm saying? He's probably one of the most popular shows right now. Why did you have to go there? Why couldn't you big somebody up? You're LeBron James. Whatever you say, people are going to listen to. People are going to go there. It was a lot of different things on there, and it was very controversial. So my biggest thing. Oh, and I just saw Deontay. I just saw your message. You said, let me pull it over here. I'm not sure why it's always doing that. But you said, how do you feel about the controversy, people being mad he didn't go in Club Shay Shay? So it's perfect you say that. It's like you saw what I want to talk about next, my boy. Here's how I feel about it. Like I said, LeBron, he was petty LaBelle, but this was all chess, not checkers. He was being very strategic. One, it's gonna hit different because of the fact if I go on Pat McAfee versus a Shannon Sharp. Yes, Shannon Sharp is really, really good friends with Stephen A. Smith. They're on First Take together. So you know Shannon Sharp is going to be very careful and very mindful of what I say, how I say it, what questions he's going to ask, right? So you got to keep that in mind. I can't truly be unfiltered unless I go to somewhere that is not a middle person, excuse me. So that's what Shannon would, he'd be like, oh, LeBron. No, you can't say that. You can't say it about Stephen A. You know you can't say it about Stephen A. No, LeBron. No, you go James. He'd have stopped it, right? So that's one thing. Two, the reason that I feel as though he went to Pat McAfee and did not go to Shannon Sharp or anyone else is Pat McAfee and Stephen A are on the same network. ESPN, they're on the same network. Stephen A has been doing First Take for years. They've been the number one show, all those different things in terms of I don't know the nuance of the number one piece, but that's what he has said, that they're the number one show. Who is his biggest competitor in terms of being the best analyst or the best show on ESPN? Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee is his biggest competitor on his own network in terms of who's got it. You know what I'm saying? So you go up to Pat McAfee show. Everybody, he knew that this would be seen and Stephen A would catch it quick because I'm on your network, bro. Yes, Ghost, I see you. It's a chess move. I'm on your network, bro. The network that you said that you were the top dog on ESPN. That's what you say, Stephen A. You know, and you, after this whole situation of me getting, checking you on a court, all those different things, you do your tour of all these different podcasts, but you go to the Gilbert Arenas podcast, another former player who was playing the same profession that I do. You want to go to their podcast? Bet. I'm going to go in your arena. And not only your arena, I'm going right at your court, your ESPN court. That's why I feel as though he went to Pat McAfee and not all these other shows, right? I'm on your court, bro. You on ESPN, I'm on ESPN. I'm not on a podcast. It's going to be on YouTube. I'm on ESPN. It literally says ESPN, right? I'm on ESPN, big dog. So I feel like it was a chess move. Like LeBron is very strategic on that. And he wasn't playing around with that. And speaking of playing around, some people were upset. Some people took some things personal. Let's check this out.
But don't the truth matter? Because there's one person in this ordeal that's telling the truth, and it's me. I don't lie to y'all. His ass lies a lot. And there's a lot of shady stuff that he does. And one of the things is his passive aggressiveness and the two-facedness and smile in your face and dig you behind the back.
Smile in your face.
I happen to know that about him, which is why I don't like him. And he don't like me. But it doesn't stop me from being fair and calling it like I see it. We ain't exchanging Christmas gifts. We ain't having Thanksgiving dinner together. What you bring your son up in there for? What you bring your family up in there before? You gonna go on Pat McAfee show, talk about you gonna protect your house. What you talking about?
See? ESPN.
Son ain't at the house. He's at crypto.com arena. We ain't covering him in Brentwood. We covering him in downtown LA at the crypto.com arena.
So as you can see, man, homeboy, he's pissed. He's pissed off. He is pissed off. And you know he was going to say something about it. You could tell this is getting very personal. Extremely personal. You know what I mean? Like he is upset. He is extremely upset about him doing this and the fact that you went on the show. I want to answer a question before I get into the next piece, the next video. I see something here that I want to answer real quick. Do you think this is a staged beef? That's a good question. I don't think it's a staged beef. I think that this is getting a little too personal for a staged beef. And the reason being, and I think this is the only reason this is a beef is not because of what Stephen A has said about LeBron's career, but the fact I feel as though we talked about this before on the podcast, you know what I'm saying? Around Bronny. And I think that Bronny's been cooking, and we've talked about this before. We said like, yo, you got to give a young player time. We've talked about this on the podcast. I don't have to, give that context. But I feel like as a father, I think that he, you know what I'm saying, he wanted to step up for his son. And I don't know all the true nuance and details of what Stephen A truly said about Bronny, or if it was just criticizing or critiquing Bronny's game. Majority of it was a fact of how LeBron got, how LeBron, let me put quotes on there, how LeBron got Bronny to Lakers, right? Or how Bronny got to the Lakers. Let's just say that. So I think that's what it was around. But it started getting personal. But this one, I thought this is when it got real crazy. Check this out.
That man put his hands on me. I would have immediately swung on him. Immediately.
Let me play that one more time.
That man put his hands on me. I would have immediately swung on him. Immediately.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now.
Stephen A.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
Bruh, what? You would swing on 6'9", 220, 230? LeBron James? Ain't no way, dog. Ain't no way. He was wilding. He said he gonna swing on LeBron. What are we talking about, bruh? You really gonna swing on LeBron? No, you wouldn't have, bruh. And that's when I think, like, to answer your question, the reason I want to pull that up right there is like, do you think this is a staged beef? No, I don't think it's staged, but I feel as though LeBron is crazy, and it's a saying that ain't no fun when a rabbit got the gun, because LeBron has been quiet while a lot of stuff is happening. You know what I'm saying? Yes, the whole confrontation thing happened and everybody caught that on camera, this, that, and the third. But I think LeBron has been like extremely quiet recently on a lot of different things. And finally he says something on your same network and all these different things. And now it's getting to the like, I'll swing them and I'll do all this, that, and the third. I feel like if the reason I don't think it's staged, because if it's getting this personal where family's involved and now you're calling me a two-faced liar and you're questioning my character, all those different things, like, and one thing about character and character being in question, LeBron seems to, based off the interview that I saw with Pat McAfee, he is really in tune with how he wants to be at the time. I'm not sure now because now he seems like he's on the effort train. But it seemed as though that he back in the day when he first started, he was very in tune with how people perceived him. Because of the fact that he was like, hey, I don't want to be a mess up. I saw Jerome Lane, who came from my particular city, be a mess up. I don't want to be that. And then also, um, I didn't see myself being the face of the league, but I knew I wanted to do things differently from other people. With that being said, a lot of people who have been pushed in the limelight, no matter what sport you're in, we've seen a lot of downfalls. We've seen a lot of people fall from grace, unfortunately. And he didn't want to be that statistic, if you will. And so I could tell he was very careful of how he moved and all those different things. So that's one reason I don't think it's staged because it's getting to that point where his character is being questioned. But I think that I don't think they like each other. He's all like, hey, we're not going to exchange Christmas cards. We're not going to do this, that, and the third. I don't like him. He doesn't like me. But I do think that I'm curious. Like, you can't just. I wonder how LeBron's going to move next because after you do something like this, you can't just say it and then go ghost and not say anything, especially if they're coming back and doing all these different things. I wonder if he's going to open up and say something again or do what they should have did in the beginning, which we talked about, and that is meet up off like behind cameras, behind the fame, and just have a man-to-man conversation. Have a man-to-man conversation. So I hope that that's what happens. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I thought it was very curious. Like, you really said that you are going. Look, bro. Could you imagine if Stephen A would have swung on LeBron, bro? Like, really? Look, first off, LeBron is playing a game. He's not going to put hands on you, bro. Especially out in public. I don't care if it's public, private. What Shannon say? OKC, UFC, UBC, LeBron in 5. And I don't mean 5 games. I mean 5 seconds. LeBron in 5. Like, that's not going to, bro. You're not like, if you'd have swung, I would have immediately swung. I appreciate the pride and the stick your chest out and say it with your chest type of stuff. But bro, like, let's just be real, right? Let's be real and don't say this on a syndicated network. Like, come on, bro. Like, that's laughable. Especially if they got video of you training, doing boxing. Like, bro, Stephen A. Like, I understand you want to be in the limelight and for what you do and how articulate you are and how you just bring up you're good at what you do, bro, and you don't need any of this attention. You know what I'm saying? You just continue to do what you got to do. Yeah, I agree. All it takes is a conversation. Um oh, and I see Ghost, bro. You're not gonna have a fair assessment. You're not gonna have a fair assessment if you hate the man. True. And I think, like, it's different from here's how I feel about it, bro. And I don't know, like, I really would love to be one of my favorite. Let me give you context. One of my favorite analysts, or just interviewers in general, is Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark he be polarizing for some people, but I rock with Ryan Clark. Oh, and another reason too, he probably didn't go to Shannon Sharp, bro. As much as Shannon Sharp, he's a GOAT and all that stuff. He is not a great interviewer. I gotta call it what it is. You call it a shot. You could call it whatever it is, but to me, he is not a great interviewer. And I'm it. Am I saying that Pat McAfee is an elite interviewer? No, I'm not saying that. But the reason that Pat McAfee is so good at what he does is, one, he's authentic. Two, he knows how to disarm people, make them feel comfortable, and then three, he's also a player and he's just very energetic. He can keep a conversation going, all those different things. And he has a whole crew around him that helps out with that. So that's what I'm saying about that. Like, hey, Shannon Sharp's not that great of an interviewer. But Ryan Clark is a great analyst. And where was I going with that? I lost my train of thought because I had to transition. Dang, where was I going with that? I can't remember. I can't remember where I was going with that. But yeah, we'll continue to keep going. Stephen, oh, that's what I was saying. I remember now. As an analyst, I appreciate when people who are authentic, but then also I appreciate analysts who tell the truth and are unbiased. No matter like how you feel about somebody, if you can respect their game and what they do, that's what I appreciate. And so when you're talking about can you have a fair assessment if you hate the man, I think you should like from a game perspective. If that player is a beast and is balling, I don't care how much you hate that person, you got to respect it. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I was with LeBron. Like I never hated LeBron. You know what I'm saying? I just wasn't a huge LeBron fan, but I respected who he is and he is definitely one of the greatest players that have touched a basketball. You can't deny that. Numbers don't lie, film don't lie, and championships and winning doesn't lie. You know what I'm saying? He's a great ball player. So I hope that people would just tell the truth. And I think that's one thing I respect about people, whether you are right, whether you are wrong, just tell the truth, bro. Like tell the truth. So any analyst who can come back uh on TV and say, yo, look, I was wrong, this, that, and the third. I this person is great. I respect it. But don't die on the hill for a terrible saying, assessment, or just hate. Don't There's no need to down the hill. Just tell the truth. That's what we preach. We understand that an analyst is not going to be correct 100% of the time. Like that's not going to happen. So just tell the truth. You'll be all right. Just tell the truth. So that's how I feel about it. So let's get into one more thing. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. One more thing that I saw online and I thought was very interesting, and then we're gonna get some Panther stuff. But pop culture situation, pop the balloon. So if you haven't seen this particular uh show, it was on YouTube, but basically a they have like a list of like either sometimes it's 20 people, 15 people, but say let's use for example, let's say it's like 15 women. And all these 15 women they're basically like checking they don't if you pop your balloon, you're not interested in the individual that walks in the room, right? Whether some people pop it right when they walk in. Some people pop it after the interviewer is asking them questions on like, what do you do for a living? How old are you? Do you have any kids? What do you look for in a woman or a man? Whatever it may be, people start popping their balloons. But it's very interesting and it's very entertaining because it's to me it's not a serious like, hey, I'm looking to go on a date with this individual. I think it's all about like the humor and the drama around it, which leads me to the segment that we were going to do last week around the state of reality shows. Now I grew up on the Real World and Baldwin Hills and all the different reality shows on MTV. And yes, it probably had a lot of drama in there as well, but it also like it felt a little bit more to me personally, my opinion only, but it felt a little bit more real during that time. Like there were things that may have happened on the show that bled into off camera stuff, you know what I'm saying? Whether it was whether it was Love and Hip Hop, right? Like something happened there and it bled into like them actually fighting in the club, or that person fell in love with somebody and they are actually together. And so like it felt like reality shows a little bit more real to me. Now it seems as though everything is truly about the drama, and people are on these reality shows, whether it's Married at First Sight, whether it's Love is Blind, which we talk about a lot on the podcast, or whether it's Pop the Balloon. You know what I'm saying? Everyone is there to get famous. It feels that way. Some people may go for love, but it seems as though everybody's on there to get famous. So it made me think about like, do these shows really hit like it used to? And I want to know from the chat. Let's go to Love is Blind for a minute. Do y'all think that Love is blind? Like, do y'all really think that love is actually blind? Or do you think like, hey, you know what? Love is not blind. I got to be attracted to this person before I make my move. I'm curious. I'm very curious. For me, it's tough. It's tough. I don't know. I don't know if I could ever go. And me and my wife talked about this before. One night, we were sitting on the couch watching TV. I think we might have been watching Love Is Blind, and I was like, "Yo, babe, would you ever go on a show like this? Would you ever go on a show like this?" And she was like, "I don't know." Like I was like, "Granted, like, all right, take me out of the scenario. We not together. We never met. We don't have any kids. Would you like at this big age? You know what I'm saying? The dating pool wasn't pooling. You know what I'm saying? It was swimmers only, and you weren't a swimmer. So the pool ain't right. You know what I'm saying? You at one of the black pool party functions. Nobody in the pool. Everybody standing around in the pool. Would you go? And she was like, I don't know. I think I would. I would try it. And she looked at me and she couldn't even say you. I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I couldn't. Because for me, I don't know. Love to me, love isn't blind because in reality, you know what I'm saying? In reality, before you even see the individual across the room and want to go talk to him, before you even go over there and talk to him, you got to see him and something has to draw you in. You know what I mean? And after that, you know what I'm saying? There's been plenty of people who that you may have deemed absolutely gorgeous. But then you meet them, you're like, nah. Or you can find somebody that's like, oh man, this person is great. And then you talk to them like, I can't get over X, Y, and Z. But no, like I don't think love is blind. I think love could be you can't drive. You gotta legally, but sometimes you can still see a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You need glasses. Love is you need glasses. You need glasses to see a little bit better. You know what I mean? It could be a little blurry, but it ain't blind. It ain't blind. So that's just how I feel about that saying because they always say, "Do you believe love is blind?" Not love is patient. Not love is patient. Love is kind. I see you. I see you. But yeah, I feel like people are we really watch it for the drama. We want to see like the crazy part about it is when you watch Love is Blind, Married at First Sight, you like, oh, you look automatically like this person ain't gonna make it. This person ain't gonna make it. Instead of like, I hope that everybody makes it. Like, I don't think I've ever heard anybody watch Love is Blind and say, I think that this person's gonna make I want this person to make it. Like every episode, I mean every couple. You're like, yo, this gonna be funny. If when they I can see it happen already. Like you're looking for the drama. So we'll see what happens with that. Last thing I want to talk about is I hit the wrong button again. Last thing I want to talk about is the Panthers, right? And I've said this before. I'll say it again. I don't think that Dan Morgan and Brant Tillis gets the credit that they deserve. I don't. I think that they have been cooking this offseason. Do we need more? Absolutely. We need a lot more, right? I get all that. But the press conference, which I was not expecting any particular press conference this week, it said a lot without saying anything to me. One, it shows that, one thing, all right, I mean, let me say this real quick. One thing that I'm big on trends. I'm big on looking at trends throughout like anything. Like if it happens multiple times, it's a trend. And how can I either keep that trend going if it's positive or not do that particular trend? And I'm talking about in terms of my personal life. I also like to look at trends when it comes to NFL teams, especially the offseason, and how they do what they do, right? And a lot of teams, this is a copycat league. So a lot of teams copy other teams in terms of plays, schemes, or how the market is moving. We saw a trend recently with running backs. People started to devalue the worth of a running back on your team, right? And so it happened where nobody wanted to pay running backs a certain amount of money. Of course, the Panthers said, we support it. Miles Sanders, come on down, right? And he was the highest paid running back for that particular offseason. So then it went from that to now it's like, oh, another trend that I saw before is having multiple running backs, right? It's no longer a one person, you are the bell cow, you're going to take all the attempts. It's a trend now where you have at least a 1-2 punch, right? The trend that I saw in this particular offseason was let's make sure we keep our talent in-house, right? We saw a lot this offseason, whether it have been Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, now Trey Hendrickson, potentially coming back, J.C. Horn, all these players, Myles Garrett, all these different players who have got these big deals, right? They're trying to make sure they keep their talent in instead of saying, hey, what can I do to get picks for this? that seemed like a trend this particular off season. Dan Morgan, one thing I want to do, I want to research because I know a lot of people are getting big on these particular top 30 visits that's going on. I'm very curious because everybody knows what top 30 visit means. These are the top 30 people that you're interested in, whether you're going to draft them first round or seventh round. These people I'm interested in. I'm very curious to see if there is a trend in terms of how they schedule their top 30 visits, right? Um, and what I mean by that is like I want to go back and see like when did they schedule the Bryce Young visit versus CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, all those different things. Also, how many of those top 30 visits actually were drafted. Now, granted, yes, you can't predict what team is interested in that particular player versus, what where you prioritize and rank them. I get all that. But I'm very curious because this is, Dan Morgan's second off season. I'm very curious to see if there is a trend being created. The other thing that I think is very interesting about Dan Morgan is I think each GM leans one way in terms of drafting offense versus defense, right? Scott Fitterer was a big offensive type of person, tried to be. Like, I'm not saying he didn't get them big people, you know what I'm saying? But DJ, like he tried, like he seemed like he leaned a little more on the offensive side a little bit. Not as great, but you know what I mean? Like the man drafted a kicker. I mean a long snapper. But Dan is he's a former linebacker. So he knows how important defense is. He knows how important defense is, and he seemed like he definitely leaned more heavily on defense this offseason because, and I think that he probably feels a little bit more confident and has a little bit more conviction on the defensive side because he has played linebacker and he knows what is needed to be a great defensive player. That's my opinion there. The other thing that I appreciate about Dan, and my pops just dropped it in here, is real G's move in silence. And I completely agree. Oh, sorry, I'm tripping on the thing. Here we go. I completely agree because he kept a lot of things close to his chest, and I greatly appreciate it because you can sometimes get some information out of him during a press conference, but Scott Fitterer could not hold water either, right? And we knew a lot of different things. Mr. In on every deal. We knew a lot of things that were going on. We don't hear a lot with Dan Morgan. Dan Morgan even said it in a press conference. You come here, and when you're speaking to other teams, you try to gather as much information as possible and keep all your information as close to the chest as possible. That was his quote. He said it. That's their Bible. That's law for them. All right. So I appreciate how they're moving. And you could tell that there's been reports. Shout out to my dog, Joe Person, one of my favorite writers. He said it. He said, look, they seem that they're very convicted and they're bullish on making this defense as good as possible. But then also like, hey, they may not be interested in wide receiver tight end at 8. And then now a lot of information came out about Jalen Noel and LeJontay Wester and now Ted McMillan, all these different things. And some people say, is it a smokescreen? Are they shifting draft priority? Here's my theory. Look, y'all, I could be completely wrong. And y'all let me know. I want to hear what y'all think about this particular theory. My theory is there's no strategy with top 30 visits. It's just based on who's available at what time you're scheduling them. I don't think that there is nothing that we have to try to figure out of how they ordered it. Even though I talked about earlier, like the trend of when they ordered it, when they scheduled Bryce Young, I think it's just based on who's available at what time. You got to keep in mind a few different things that are going on with behind the scenes. My assumption here, but if as a player, you're training one for the combine, but then making sure that you're in shape for all of your pro day, for your private visits, all that. You're training. 2, you're doing a lot of interviews with a lot of different networks if you're one of those top players. 3, you're talking with your agent because there's probably a lot of people who want to do endorsements with you, right? So you're having conversations with the Under Armours and the Nikes and the Jordans and the Reese's and the Sharpies, whatever it may be. You're having all these conversations and trying to get these endorsements. So a lot is going on during this time. And also, you got to keep in mind that not only are they trying to get these top 30 visits scheduled, but they're also still dealing with free agency. They're still behind the scenes trying to get free agents into the building to have conversations with them. Hence why we just heard about the Hunter Renfrow thing that happened Wednesday today. There's a lot of things that we don't hear about unless they want us to hear about it, or unless the agent sees it as leverage, which is what Hunter Renfrow's agent did today, right? If you think it's leverage because people are interested in this particular player but didn't want to make a move unless other teams were interested in the player, that's why agents do what they do. But I appreciate Dan Morgan and Brent Tillis keeping things really close to their chest and making sure that it doesn't leak out unless it's from someone else. So shout out to what they're doing. I think they're doing a great job. I'm curious to see what we're going to do with safety. I know we just brought in 2 safeties, Julian Blackman and Marcus Williams. If I had my choice, it'll probably be Julian Blackman, 1, because of age, 2, because of injury history, and 3, because it just feels like Marcus Williams kind of fell off a little bit, you know what I'm saying, recently. But I think that Julian Blackman fits what we do, and the trend that we're going in terms of making the defense younger. So that'll be my pick. Of course, I'll still draft a rookie as well, because that's extremely important to do. So yeah, that's just kind of how I feel about it. And I'm excited to see what we're going to do in the draft. Yeah, so that's how I feel about Dan Morgan and what they got going on. I'm curious to see what y'all think. Do y'all think that, they're cooking? Do you want to see more? I know Dan Morgan has been polarizing recently in terms of how people feel about him. Some people saying he's doing well. Some people saying he needs to do more. We got to keep in mind our cap situation this year. But Doug, I'm curious, who would you want, like, in terms of the safety class? Knowing that we're probably not going to pick a Malachi Starks at 8. So who do you think? I got 2 that I like. One is Xavier Watts from Notre Dame. I really like Xavier. I think he's really solid. And then 2, the other person I like is Andrew Mubaka from Texas. Solid. I like him as well. So those are 2 of the safeties that I really like in this draft class. There's a few others that I can't think of off the top of my head. This was just straight off the top of my head. But those are some people that I rock with. All right, so we are 15 minutes over. Usually I try to keep it down to an hour. I know somebody reached out in one of the comments, was like, yo, Carlo, like, we really love this podcast and we think that you should go longer. We want you like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I was like, dang, y'all want to hear me that long, bro? I don't even know if I want to hear myself that long. But this has been fun. We're going to do it again next week. I appreciate y'all coming out at 8 o'clock and rocking with me tonight, especially on a Friday. You probably had a lot of things to do. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate it. I just saw your comment, Doug. I like Billy Bowman. I think he said Oklahoma, I think it is. I rock with him too. So yeah, man. I've been look, make sure y'all go check out What's Up, Doug. I think he got Mock Draft 4.0 out with my boy Dunk. And yeah, Dunk and I, we got something cooking. That's all I'm gonna say. Dunk and I got something cooking, man. So yeah, make sure y'all go check that out. Mock Draft 4.0. And make sure you subscribe while you're over there. It's been fun, y'all. This was fun. I had a great time tonight. Y'all know I love doing this. I appreciate y'all. One thing I love about this is that y'all are used to it. We go everywhere. We talk about every sport. We talk about pop culture, talk about everything. And I love the engagement and y'all come and rock with me. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. If you did not hit that bell notification, make sure you do that as well. So you never know. Like you said, we did Friday this week. You never know if we're going to go live. And make sure y'all tell a friend to pull up on us, man. We have hit 305 subscribers. So we hit that 300 mark. I'm super happy about it. That was one of my goals. My next goal now is 500, right? I'm trying to get in that YouTube partner program, y'all. I'm trying to get this thing popping, all right? So I need y'all to go tell people to pull up, subscribe, because we on the way up. We moving, you know what I'm saying? We just year 1. We only 1 year old, but we definitely rocking. So just make sure y'all pull up. I appreciate y'all, and we out of here. Peace.